That's the event that the Prime Minister is attending in Brisbane. He's going to unveil the statue of Mahatma Gandhi at the Roma Park Street.
Sir, you're coming in the camera.
Some traditional music playing in the backdrop. Almost all of them from the Indian community gathered alongside with the Prime Minister. And there he unveils the statue of Mahatma Gandhi.
And a khadi, thread made of khadi.
Ambassador Dogra, coming back to you, we were talking about, when I said unrealistic expectations, I also meant to pick up from the point that the Indian community, the NRIs, are just very excited with, ever since the BJP has swept power back in India. They are looking at coming back in the country, and they think it's going to happen really soon. There are going to be jobs that will come up instantly. In that sense, expectations being unreal, or do you think a change in the mindset, as you were mentioning, is the first step in that direction, which has in fact already been initiated?
Well, I think a flood of NRIs coming back, that's not on the cards. These were enthusiastic NRIs who made these comments for the camera, but then they're also practical NRIs who know that they have to time their arrival when they can make it and make it successfully. So I don't think we should discourage anyone from coming back to India. After all, they are good brains. They are brains who have made it a success abroad. So why shouldn't they come back and contribute to the success here? So I don't think there is any reason for skepticism here. Okay. They have a contribution to make and they should be most welcome. But what we should realize is that Prime Minister Modi by himself is not a magician. It cannot be a single man act for the entire country of 1.2 billion, 2.5 billion, 1.25 billion people plus. It has to be a collective act, and that will take some doing. So that understanding has to be there, and he on his part now has got a good team of ministers with him who can carry the job forward.
Right.
And I think what he has also done is to enthuse the entire country and to get the support of
right, to get the momentum going, and the Clean India drive could be a case in point over here. Paranjoy, do you think he is making all the right noises so far as his this big diplomatic visit is concerned, first to Myanmar and now to Australia?
There's no doubt about the fact that his supporters are not just enthusiastic, they're euphoric. I repeat that word, euphoric. And I did say indeed unrealistic, because what has happened is you have raised expectations. Now, to fulfill those expectations, as Ambassador Dogra rightly said, is easier said than done. Now, that is the real challenge that lies ahead of him. It's fine to say we should develop in an ecologically sustainable manner, but say there have been controversies at home, including with the port that Mr. Gautam Adani has set up in Gujarat, and the one he's setting up in Australia, in Queensland. But besides that, there is another issue here. Non-resident Indians, and I include my own brother in that category, and I suppose most Australian NRIs, they typically have this love-hate relationship. At one level, they want to show how patriotic they are and how much they want to contribute to the country. At the same time, they also are very critical of their own country, and they wouldn't have gone out of their own country if they had the opportunities. Absolutely. So this kind of very schizophrenic kind of attitude they have towards this country. And among this section of the people, you have indeed raised expectations. Now, the ability to fulfill those expectations is the challenge that lies ahead of Mr. Modi, and that's the difficult part of the story.
Absolutely. Ambassador Dogra, coming back to the issue of black money, because that is really what formed the centerpiece of even his 10-minute address at the summit. you know, it's one thing to raise this issue at an international level, and it is indeed important, no denying about that, in the presence of big world leaders. But then the you know, the case back home still goes on. Do you think that, you know, even a setting up of a working committee, as Rahul earlier was pointing out, a step in that direction would really change things in maybe even years to come, let's say 2 to 3 years from now?
Well, I think 2 to 3 years would be very optimistic and would be very positive. Let's also look at the harsh realities, and the hard reality is that many
even the information sharing that the Prime Minister pitched at his in his address.
Well, information sharing should be most welcome and should be most essential. But coming back to the harsh realities, the fact is that some of the Swiss banks have huge amounts of deposits dating back to World War I and World War II of Nazis and many others, which, if they are liquidated by information sharing, then they would probably not be as profitable and as healthy as they are today, because those amounts have not been claimed because no one knows about them, neither their grandsons nor their great-grandsons. So it's not just a question of India and its black money abroad, it's a global issue and it has many dimensions to it. So while we should keep plugging at it, while we should keep pushing at it, and maybe exceptions can be made in case of India, as have been made in case of America, where American government insisted and got full disclosures insofar as black money abroad by its citizens was concerned. So making it a universal case may be more difficult than making it a country-specific case, and I think that should be our next step.
Okay, that should be our next step. Perhaps India getting the treatment that US got as far as getting the black money back is concerned, getting you know, information sharing first before any other country is concerned. We'll be tracking all the developments from Brisbane right here on Headlines today. I request my guests to please stay on with me. We'll be right back.